This is the KGM Rexton, formerly known as the Ssangyong Rexton. This 7-seat diesel 4x4 SUV offers a lot for less than some of its rivals. And in this review, I'm going to tell you why I like it so much. I think it's one of the most underrated family SUVs with diesel power on the market. So let's check it out. I'll tell you about the pricing, the specs, the ownership, and much more, and some great alternatives too. So let's go, shall we? Thanks for subscribing. Under KGM, the pricing has gone up just a little bit for the entire Rexton range, but it's still a very value-focused model in the SUV segment, especially considering its size and the practicality on offer. Now, the entry-level grade is called ELX. It starts at $52,000 drive away and 51 grand if you're an ABN holder. There are some discounts on offer if you do hold an ABN across the entire range. But the entry-level grade does have some good inclusions. It gets LED lighting and LED daytime running lights. You're also getting 18-inch alloy wheels. On the inside, you're getting fake leather trim, which is new for that base grade. And just like this high grade one, you've got twin 12.3-inch screens, one for your driver info, one for your multimedia, including wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto too. Up from there is the mid-spec version. It's now called Advance instead of Adventure, and it does have a few extra advanced features for the extra money that you have to pay for it, including heated and ventilated front seats, heated outboard rear seats, power front seat adjustment, a power tailgate, tyre pressure monitoring, ambient interior mood lighting, sun blinds in the rear doors, and proximity unlocking. The Ultimate grade is the next step up the range, and it adds a few extra features for the cash to give you a bit more luxuriousness on the inside, including a wireless phone charger, premium leather seats with quilted look door trims and dash panel. There's a surround view camera system in the Ultimate grade. You're also getting a few extra features like third row air vents and driver's seat and door mirror memory settings, plus a wireless phone charger in that grade. And at the top of the range is this one here. It's called the Sport Pack, and it adds some design elements that you might like these 20-inch alloy wheels. It also gets some black exterior finishing. It gets leather and suede interior trim and a few other interior trinkets that make it feel a bit more special, and so it should for the cash, because the price is higher than ever. If this is the formula you're after, diesel 4x4 7-seater, the Isuzu MU-X is a great go-to guy. There are a few different versions available, starting at a relatively close price point to this, but if you are looking for a high-grade version, you're going to have to spend about $15,000 more over the top of this high-grade Rexton. But you will get heaps and heaps of features, but honestly, it does seem to be better value in the mid-spec models, and that new 2.2 litre might be a great fit for you if you are working with a budget. If you don't need 7 seats, but you like the idea of diesel and off-road capable, the GWM Tank 300 would be a go-to, because it might be a little bit smaller, but it does have heaps and heaps of practicality. It's got a lovely opulent interior for an off-road capable beast. It is so good off-road. And finally, if you think 7 seats is your priority and you don't really care whether it's that off-road capable, the Hyundai Santa Fe would be one to check out. It starts at around $53,000 for the turbo petrol version. Add a few $1,000 if you want the petrol hybrid one. And there's also an XRT off-road package if you want to get it looking butch and going a bit further off the beaten path. And it is surprisingly not too bad when it comes to off-roading, but not this kind of machine and not the same as some of the others that I mentioned earlier. But what is your priority? Tell me in the comments section. Would you choose this? Is it the right blend of the capability that you're looking for? One of those alternatives or something else? Have your say. I'd love to hear from you. I'm a real fan of this Sport Pack look for the KGM Rexton. I think it looks fantastic. I've always thought this Rexton has looked pretty tidy. This particular one though, I think it looks very, very nice. You get the metallic paint as standard if you choose the Sport Pack, and you're getting 20-inch wheels, which I think look really good, especially when they have shiny tires. Now, there are some changes for this updated KGM model. It does say KGM on the wheel caps, but that's about it. You don't have side steps, which might be good if you plan to go off-roading. I'll show you some ground clearance numbers on your screen, and I'll also show you all the dimensions that you might need to pay attention to for this 7-seat family SUV. Not the biggest, but also not the smallest. Now, let's have a look at the back. This grade does get the keyless proximity unlocking, and it has an electric tailgate as well. So let's have a look in the boot. Yep, it says KGM down there now. So here we go. Now, it does have a pretty interesting sort of rear configuration here. As you can see, there is a little shelf, which might be handy or might not be handy. And you've got a decent amount of space behind these third row seats. I'll put the cargo capacity figure with the third row seats up on your screen now. And if you're wondering, how hard are they to put down? Not very. You just have to pull that and push that, provided that the seats are in the right configuration. One sec. Yeah, so make sure your seats aren't too reclined in the middle row, and it'll be very easy to drop them down. And look at that. That is a very, very good amount of cargo space. If you are going to run it as a 5-seater, there are no 5-seat versions available. It is strictly a 7-seat lineup. Now let's have a look in the back here. This is a high grade one, so it gets some controls, which I'll talk you through as we go through the back seat experience. But really, there's not a whole lot in terms of the additions in here. You do get these little shopping bag hooks right at the back, which are handy, but maybe not as handy as they could be. But underneath the body of the vehicle, you will find a full-size spare wheel, which is a massive bonus. Give you a glimpse of the suspension under there as well. Yep, it's not a live axle jobby at the back, which is good. So there you go. Now, does this actually come out? That's what I want to know. Yes, there you go. So if you don't want that in the way, you can get it out of the way, and it'll give you a bit more space behind those third row seats, but otherwise you can have a shelf there. So yeah, anyway, let's jump into the interior and see what it's like. Okay, let's have a look at the interior of the KGM Rexton. First and foremost, you'll notice that's not the KGM badge, that's still the Ssangyong badge, but I do think that they have made some difference to this vehicle, especially this high grade sport pack model, which gets the suede finish on the dashboard. You've got the ambient light there, as you can see, with the suede finish. It's on the dash, it's on the doors. It's a bit more upmarket than the old diamond stitched leather, or leatherette, whatever it was. And on this side, you'll see there's suede up on the seats. It goes to the back seats as well. Real leather trim too. And it's got the passenger walk-in system as well. So that means you can move the seat forward on the passenger side to allow anyone in the very back a bit more space to get in and out. Now, this feels pretty bloody good. It feels the money, in my opinion, in some ways at least. Some of the controls maybe aren't as high-end feeling as they could be, but I do think that this is a premium-ish feeling cabin, and so it should be for the cash, right? Let's have a look at this display, this 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster that goes in front of the driver. It does have some menus that you can jump through, some different display icons and ideas, and look, you might love that. You might think that that's really funky. You might never have seen something like that in your car. And that's great. But yeah, there's a bit of information available to you on the screen there as well. You can get through that using the controls on the steering wheel here, and there you'll see you've got your adaptive cruise control and your lane keeping assist button. So if you want to, you can have lane keep on. If you want it off, you just hold that button down and it will go off. Cruise control action is there, and you can adjust the distance as well. And on this side, you've got some media controls as well, and a steering wheel heating control too, because this one does get steering wheel heating. Now, on this screen here, you'll see it has a thing blanked out, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well, because, well, it doesn't have wirelessly capable Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. I did connect up to my phone earlier, show you a shot of that now, and it's perfectly fine. It even offers you the chance to use the drop-down box, but yeah, I mean, you've still got to have a cable messily running from here if you do want to use your phone. There's also a wireless phone charger in this particular grade, but you have to spend quite a bit of money in the Rexton lineup to get that. And you also get these ventilated and heated seats as well, and that's in the high grades too. Plus there's a decent climate control system here. I guess the usability of it is perfectly acceptable, and the display is actually okay. It's just a bit reflective, so you might struggle to see it in certain lights. And when you do adjust controls on the screen, it will also duplicate up on the main screen there. So yeah, that might be good, it might be bad. It doesn't do it and annoy you when you're using Apple CarPlay, which is good. But yeah, I think that is easy to get your head around. All the controls are there, so that's good. And it might be a touch panel, but it's actually quite receptive. So that's very good, I would say. Now, down here, you'll see you've got your little dinky shifter. You've got a park brake here, which is your regular push button park brake, and an electronic proper handbrake park brake. And here you've got some drive mode controls as well. You'll see on the screen up here, they jump between those modes when you use them. And you've also got a camera view mode right here. So if you want to, you can have a look at your car where it's positioned in 3D mode, and even as a ghost if you want it to be. So there you go, pretty nifty, I would say. That tech is welcome. Should be on more models as standard though. Now down here you'll also find you've got a part-time four-wheel drive management system. So as you can see, we're in 2 high. You can put it into 4 high for unsealed surfaces and snow stuff. And then you've got low range, proper low range. Yeah, interesting, huh? Now you've got a pair of cup holders with a cover if you want to cover them up. And those USB ports are actually pretty good. Decent sized center console bin with a 12 volt, good sized bottle holders in the doors, and a lockable glove box, which is a nice touch. And overhead, you will find that this one has a sunroof because it's a high grade one, and you've got a control there to open and close that. You've got your light controls, no emergency call button because it doesn't have connected services, but it does have an auto dimming rear vision mirror. It's not a digital mirror, and lots of faces might fill that up pretty easily. And when it comes to your visors, they are adjustable, which makes a difference. So for instance, if you were driving with the sun right there, it wouldn't be right there. How good's that? And you've got illuminated vanity mirrors, so that is a nice bonus too. Yeah, nice feeling interior, I would say. The controls are all pretty simple. On this side, you've also got some driver's seat memory settings, as you can see here. And you've got your electronic boot open button, hill descent control, traction control, and auto up down for all windows. That's a nice bonus as well. And your mirror controls are on there. So, yep, all of it. Easy to get your head around and easy to use, and pretty decent, I would say, in the execution and the premiumness. So let's jump into the second row first and see what the space is like. Then we'll jump in the very back. Rightio, let's have a look at this. So backseat space for someone my height, 6 foot behind a 6 foot driver, actually pretty good, I have to say. Good amount of knee room, and also when it comes to headroom, it's also not bad. The sunroof does eat into the space a little bit here, so it does feel like you've been caved in on a little bit, but you've got some nice bright lights. There's also grab handles here with little hooks, and one thing that I really like is that some grades come with the sun blinds, which are a nice inclusion. You've got hoik handles to get yourself in. You've got the nice suede trim, the heated outboard seats as well, and auto windows there as well. Good sized pockets, and more pockets on the seat backs. They're a bit of a hard plastic finish, but they'd be durable for kiddo kicks. And you've also got some directional vents down here, USB-C ports, another 12 volt, and a storage tray. A relatively flat floor for a 4x4, so that's nice. And there are the ISOFIX points you would expect, plus 3 top tethers too, and a flip down armrest with some cup holders and a little device nook and a little hidey hole for some lollies. And yeah, this seat doesn't slide, so that might be something you want to pay attention to, especially if you need to fit big people in the back. But speaking of which, I'm going to do that now. I'm relatively big, as I said, I'm 6 foot, so let's see how easy it is for my big clumsy body to get into the back. So no top pull down handle for this one. So you can see right there, it's a flip tumble toggle. So I have to do this first, and then I have to do that right there. So look where my driver's seat is. That doesn't really work, excuse the grunt noises. But yeah, to be easy to access the third row, you would have to have someone shorter driving. So I can't really do that. I'm just gonna have to do it, move it, and come back to you one sec. Okay, so now I should be able to do it. If I just do this, yep, that's better. But yes, you've got a little thing here so you can get that out of the way, which is good. I'll show you the other side and see what the access is like over there in a sec. But the back seat here. Now, we are talking third row space in a less than 5 meter long SUV. And let me just pull this back down so I can get an idea how much space I really have. It's a bit awkward, people. Yeah, not very easy to actually reach and pull that up. You have to have someone there to do it, but yeah, knee room is a little bit tight. It's sort of a lying down position because there's not a whole lot of headspace, as you can see. So I wouldn't suggest that this is going to be acceptably good for huge units to be able to fit in the very back. There's not much of a view out from here either, so keep that in mind. And look, the usability of this space is going to be limited by the fact, again, that you don't have any ISO fixed points or top tethers in the third row. So not ideal, I would suggest, but there are some good inclusions back here. So you've got this little elasticated section here, which might be good for holding a bottle. There's a tray there. You can fit your cargo cover over there. And yes, you do have some vents down here, as I showed you before. And there is a fan controller, and goodness, it does blow. So that's actually pretty handy. There's a 12 volt down there as well. So if you do need to put people in the very back, that will be good to note. Another great thing to note, if you do need people in the very back, look at that. Airbag coverage for the third row. So safety, maybe in terms of the airbag coverage, but yeah, you're going to have to be mindful of how much space you've actually got to play with. Now let me jump out and I'll show you how this side works when it comes to getting in and out. Right, so here we go. It's the same mechanism as there is on the other side. So I mean, if you are really going to use the third row all the time, I would suggest that could be a significant impetus to your buying this car, because it's not very well clever, is it, compared to some of the others out there with the tilt and slide mechanisms that you might have found in other 7-seat SUV reviews that I've done. You'll find a link in the description below for all those 7-seaters that I've tested. KGM is carrying on with the same 2.2 litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel engine as was offered in the previous versions of the Rexton. 148 kilowatts, 441 newton meters of torque. That's decent for this type of vehicle. It comes as standard with an 8-speed automatic transmission, and it is 4-wheel drive, properly 4-wheel drivable apparently. Now, towing capacity, 750 kilos unbraked and 3.5 tons braked towing capacity. This one doesn't have a tow bar, so no towing test as part of this review, but let's go drive it and I'll show you what it's like as a daily commuter. Okay, so what's the KGM Rexton like to drive? Well, it's very similar in a lot of ways compared to the last model, but it does have a few little differences. As I mentioned earlier on, you do have a different steering system, so it's an electric steering system as opposed to the old hydraulic one, which does enable it to have lane keeping assistance, and I've turned it off a couple of times while I've driven this car, and I've left it on a couple of times. I don't necessarily like lane keeping. I just don't like being pushed around. That's just me. But there's also a difference in terms of the feel to the steering. It's a bit lighter feeling and actually feels a little bit more manageable in urban stop-start situations. And if you do spend a lot of time in urban stop-start driving, you might find that the added usefulness of adaptive cruise control is a good bonus, as well as this steering adjustment that's been made. So I would say it's more urban friendly now than it was before, and I do think that this is one of the most underrated in the segment in terms of just being a easygoing drive with a punchy diesel engine. It's not the most powerful engine in the segment, but it gets along well. It's got plenty of urgency when you put your foot down. And the 8-speed auto does a good job of managing things as well. Plus, if you want to go off-road, you've got the sure-footedness of high range and low range 4-wheel drive. And well, it's just very promising in terms of the idea that if you want to do that, you can. It doesn't have the best ground clearance. It's not the greatest off-roader, but it does have lots of the hardware that you'll need if you want to go adventuring. And I think as an urban conveyance, it's really quite good. Now, this is a bumpy road. We're on the 20-inch wheels and tires, and it's perfectly acceptable in terms of the ride. It does bounce and pogo just a little bit at times, but I wouldn't say that it's uncomfortable. And especially if you're gonna fill up those seats in the back and put some weight on it, then it will be pretty well sorted in terms of the ride comfort. When it's just one on board and you're on the 20-inch wheel package, you might find that it is just a little bit pogo-y and boingy, but yeah, I think it's fine. It does also have a tendency at low speeds to, when you have the auto hold system on, to sort of hold a little longer than you're expecting to. And the other thing that I've found maybe just a little bit quirky about it is when you shift gears, you just got to make sure that you really press the lever to put it into drive or back up to reverse. Otherwise you'll end up in neutral and you'll just be sitting there revving. And that can be frustrating if you're doing a 3 or 5 point turn. Turning circle's not too bad in this car, but just as an example, yeah, you need to be mindful of your shifting when you are actually shifting. And speaking of which, there's also paddle shifters. If you want to take matters into your own hands, you can, but yeah, there's no real need to, because it's all pretty well sorted when it comes to the drive experience. It's not too noisy either, pretty refined on the open road. You do get a bit of engine noise when you're revving it, but the actual noise intrusion from the outside, there's not too much tire noise, there's not too much wind noise. Certainly an impressive, serious SUV, and yeah, I really like it. I think it's better than good in this segment. Leaves some of the big name brands in its wake, I would suggest. On your screen now, you'll see the official combined fuel consumption number for the KGM Rexton, same as the Ssangyong Rexton was before it. And that is a pretty decent number for a 7-seater diesel family SUV like this. And if you're wondering what I've seen over my time testing this vehicle, which has been pretty much doing what family buyers do: urban driving, highway, freeway commuting, a bit of stop-start here and there, no off-roading, no towing either, but a good mix of driving. The same sort of stuff you might do if you're buying a Rexton. And I have seen a pretty decent figure. You'll see it on your screen right now. Another thing to keep in mind about this big diesel truck is that it doesn't require AdBlue, so that's one less consumable to consider the cost of. And the fuel tank capacity is on your screen now, so you'll be able to do the maths and see what you might be able to get out of a refill. It should have pretty good driving range from a full tank. Did you know that the gods of ANCAP have never put a KGM or Ssangyong Rexton through its paces in crash testing, which is surprising because this is a family-friendly SUV and it's sold in decent numbers over the years, but never has it been tested. Weird, I would say. Now, you've got things that are standard, like autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection. There's now advanced adaptive cruise control. There's also lane keeping assistance, which wasn't standard before. Plus, you're getting blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert. Front and rear parking sensors are standard, and a reversing camera is standard. If you step up to the second from top ultimate grade, you're also getting yourself a surround view camera system, as you do in this sport pack model. And it does seem to be pretty good when it comes to the implementation of the safety tech. The good thing about it, doesn't have any of the annoying bing bongs that you might think you will be getting in a new car. So there is no driver monitoring camera, and there's also no speed sign recognition system. So that means that this car, well, it's quite livable and quite likable from the safety front. And as I said before, there are curtain airbags for all 3 rows of seats. Plus there's dual front and front side and a driver's knee airbag, but there's no front center airbag, which is a bit peculiar because that's now pretty much standard across most new models. Ssangyong had a good reputation for reliability in our market, especially for the Rexton, and KGM is hoping that that will continue on, clearly, because it's still got a 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty, and the brand also still offers a 7-year roadside assistance program included when you buy a new car. You can pass that on to the next owner as well as the warranty, and there's still a 7-year capped price servicing plan on offer too. Service intervals are every 12 months and 15,000 kilometres. And you'll see the average cap price service plan cost on your screen per year. That's not too bad, a little bit more expensive than it used to be, but everything's gotten more expensive, hasn't it? So what do you think? Would you choose this car based on those ownership promises? I think it seems pretty good in terms of the promises. I really, really like the KGM Rexton. I think it continues on the legacy of this very impressive 7-seat diesel SUV that will fit a lot of people's needs, a lot of people's stuff as well. It's practical, it's comfortable, it's pretty easy to drive, and it has been improved. But what do you think? Is it too pricey? Have your say in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you wouldn't choose this, what would you choose? Let me know. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you when I see you.